This story is a work of fiction. While it may reference real-world events and historical contexts, all characters, situations, and locations are imagined or dramatized for creative purposes. Inspired by a dream shaped by current and past experiences under dictatorship, this content aims to explore themes of freedom, resistance, and identity. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for themes involving political oppression, trauma, and rebellion.
Beneath the ash where shadows dwell, a barren earth, a hollow shell, whispers of life in skies so high, floating cities pierce the sky, revolutions above and breaking chains, letting hope grow. Through the void, we rise, we soar, finding freedom forevermore. Echoes of stars, their wisdom share, desolation, through the fire, we ignite the spark of a new desire. To love, to build, to rise again. A human heart will never bend. Revolutions above and letting hope grow. Through the void, we rise, we soar, finding freedom forevermore. Above the ruins, a world begins. Through love and struggle, the future wins. Floating trees, a path we find. Revolutions in heart and mind.
Hello and welcome, friends from around the world. Thank you for joining Liberty for Cuba, where the story of a distant future begins to unfold. Today, we release Chapter 2, A New Way of Life, and Chapter 3, Dynasty and Empire, two powerful episodes that reveal the transformation of humanity and the rise of a galactic regime. Subscribe, like, and share to help this journey reach even more voices.
A New Way of Life.
It was unbearable and burdensome for humans to survive on the ground. The seas turned toxic. The green grass and trees had disappeared 2,000 years ago, and only a few plants were cultivated in caves. Due to unpredictable electric storms and heavy clouds, the sun is barely visible from below. World leaders decided that humans must live free and in peace following the rules of coexistence. Thanks to the galaxy's citizens, new unimaginable energy sources were shared, and enormous cities rose in the skies to the troposphere, bringing up millions of humans into a different way of life. Once and for all, there was peace, freedom, and a functional civic. Humans no longer felt the need to escape or feel terror anymore. Underdeveloped and developed civilizations recognized the galaxy code and raised their civic intelligence to meet their required standards. Most of the worst human fears disappeared and were replaced with kindness, humility, and intelligence in most of the world's population. Life in the cities was full of joy and well-being for everyone. However, language dramatically changed, and the articulation of sentences was a myth from the past. Minimalist language, signals, and postures are now used to communicate. There is no need to ask anyone for permission to jump into other cities, enjoy travel, or even a swimming pool. Most jobs are developer-based. Earnings are in galactic credits. Androids do all servicing 24 hours a day. Civic and communication were developed to save precious oxygen and clean air. These intelligent cities could grow plants and produce the essentials for life, including clean air and drinking water. The Castro dynasty developed their tourism industry to its highest level, and several floating cities were lifted across the island. All of these were designed for tourists of the galaxy to visit and enjoy the human zoo down on the ground. Across ancient times, Prophet Fidel Castro developed his master plan with the tourism industry and biotechnology research. After 5,000 years, the project has now finally reached its purpose. The Cuban biotechnology labs developed a vaccination package to immunize Cubans against radiation, hunger, and viruses, thus immunizing them against all exposures. This has always fascinated world leaders in summits and lobbies across centuries. With the Prophet's medical proposals and totalitarian policy indoctrinating the Cuban people to act and live like animals. This is why the only remaining humans on the ground are the Cuban population sticking to the ancient ways of life. The ground was almost forgotten over time, and with the new generations in the floating cities, there was nothing to find down there. It is still a mystery how the dynasty of the Castro family triumphantly survived across all these centuries. Travel developed using teleport platform stations to jump between cities in the world. The Prophet had created the path for his future generation, shaping centuries of conviction, optimism, and ideology in every era of Cubans. Over time, many freed and brave Cubans tried hard to unchain their people from the ancient Castro dictatorship by using all sorts of means, influencing and informing Cubans in the island and abroad of the hidden truths in history. However, letting the world know about the prison island created by Prophet Fidel and his followers was in vain. They needed unity and acceptance. A free Cuban territory could not be pulled off. Power and money spoiled the project. Many were ignored by world leaders and needed more veracity. Most of these influencers were prosecuted worldwide by the empire, and the rest stood down their opposition and hid in different parts of the world. Still, their records remained archived within the G2. The Cuban Empire's classified military sector safeguarded the records for millennials. World leaders finally condemned the Cuban regime 3,000 years ago for enslaving their citizens. However, the Cuban people answered back clearly and firmly to the world. defending their will and stating the world code that every thinking human will do with its, his, her freedom what they want, even to live like a slave. The embargo was lifted after the uprising, and the Castro Empire evolved. This moment in history was a breaking point to make a peak in the economy and development of the Castro family and descendants of the revolution generals. This meant that the Castro Empire reached its place. Cubans carried on with their life of slavery, with loyalty to the empire. Many changes appeared. Late martyrs, inspiring independence and freedom like José Martí, Antonio Maceo, Mariana Grajales, Máximo Gómez, and Isabel Rubio, were never again mentioned or remembered, and only remained as forgotten history in the life and reflections of Prophet Fidel, followed by his bloodline descendants across 5,000 years. The empire was established 2,000 years ago when Castro I rose to the throne and proclaimed himself king. He was remarkable for imposing the beard for life on all men born in the land. Every child had to be named after the prophetic names: Fidel, Raúl, Ernesto, Alejandro, Sandro, Vilma, Mariela, or Aleida. During his reign, King Castro I chose to be crowned with a ring of marabou on his head, symbolizing the extinction of the late tree on the island of Cuba. Basic human principles of autonomy, dignity, respect, fairness, and choice were now extinct and considered sins and betrayals to the empire. The Castro Empire has risen in time and created one of the finest attractions in the galaxy. Floating cities in the skies and an entire country on the ground as a zoo. This effort required thousands of years of indoctrination, propaganda, endurance, and support from allies worldwide. The empire developed 14 floating cities along Cuba, which stand as massive hotels of 5 square miles, ruled by the Castro Empire, administered by the sons and daughters of the general ancestors of the revolution. The G2 androids and patrolling drones working day and night across all territories.
This time, chapters 2 and 3 had been placed together. See you next week in the review. Like and share. This is Liberty for Cuba. Thanks for watching.